Hey, so I'm back for my story time. And it's about this guy that I met when I was 21. And he was a lot older than me. And he was a security guard, police officer. He did security at a grocery store that was by my house. And he was a police officer for a district. I ain't gonna say what district he was a police officer for. But he was cool people, you know. It was what it was with him. And at first I didn't want to talk to him because he was so old. Well, older than me. So every time he would see me coming to the grocery store, he would always try to holler at me. So I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm gonna just go ahead and give him my number. You know, maybe he'll leave me alone because it was starting to be real creepy. So I ended up giving him my number. And we just gonna call him Woody. We're not gonna say his real name or whatever. I don't even know if the man's still alive. And not even trying to be funny. I just don't know. So he started coming over and everything. And I'm like, I don't know what he want from me, but I ain't got nothing to give him. So after that, he started, giving me money and everything. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a little coin out of him. And at the time, I was clubbing a lot. So my sister used to be over at the house with us. She would come and visit and help babysitting and things like that. So after so long, I was like, okay, he's not gonna keep sitting up in my face, and I'm gonna need a little bit more coin from him. So after so long, he started calling me and being like, come up to the job so you come and get this money. I'd be like, okay. So me and Tawana would go up there to his job and get the little paycheck that he had just cashed, because that was like a little extra money for him, because again, he was a police officer, but he also did other little things on the side, back then. So after that, he started being extra clingy, like he always wanted to come over my house and everything. So I'm like, what you want to come over here for? I'm like, well, hell, I'm getting this money, so I'm going to give him a little FaceTime. So he would come over and he would just sit there and look stupid for a long time. So I kept telling Swan, I'm like, well, hell, he gonna keep giving me this money. He wants something else, but I don't want to do nothing with him. I don't like him like that. So I'm like, shit, I'm just keep telling this dude I'm on my period, that I got issues or whatever. So every time he would come over, he'd be like, come on, let's go in the bedroom, da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, nah, for what, And he was like, I'm like, nah, nigga, I'm on my period. You know what I'm saying? He right. Every time I come over here, you holler, you on your period. I'm like, I am, I got issues. And he's like, yeah, you lying to me. You just using me as your sugar daddy. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I started telling Twan, like, Twan, if he asks you, tell him, yeah, I got these issues or whatever, and I can't sleep with him. So Twan was like, I bet. So he used to ask Twan, like, what's up with your friend? You know what I'm saying? Like, why she acting like that? And she like, she got these issues. She stayed on her period for a long time. So after so long, dude started saying, okay, she full of shit. So I'm like, shit, it is what it is. You take it how you want to, but I milked him for as long as I could. And I think it was some months I did this, pulled this off. So he used to come over in this like sheriff uniform all the time. And we would hide in the house, close all the blinds. And when they answer the door, tell the kids to be quiet. And when we see him coming down the street, Tawana be like, there's a snake in my boot. There's a snake in my boot. And every time, that was like, I think of, heard this fool come walking down the street, because we knew he was going to stop by my house on the way to work, because he didn't even have a car, which was crazy, considering all the shit that he was doing, all the stuff he was doing, I'm sorry. And how he made his little extra money and everything. Like, it didn't make any sense to me why he didn't have a vehicle. But that's neither here nor there. That was pretty much one of the turnoffs because everybody that I talked to had to have a vehicle because I needed to know you ain't need nothing from me and have your own place. So he would come and he would knock on the door for like 10, 15 minutes. He'd stand out there and be quiet. And I guess listening at the door to see if we was at home. But we would be sitting up there quiet as a mug, laughing like, I'll be glad when he gone and go, like that. So he would eventually leave because he had to, you know, be at work or whatever. So every time he would come over, Twana be like, what's up, there's a snake in my boot? He didn't get it. He was like, what is she talking about? Now, mind you, we had kids, so Toy Story was kind of in back then, so it was just funny, like a little inside joke or whatever. So one day, I had, you know, the company or whatever, and I'm like, dang, here he come. You could see him from my window going and coming to work because of the way he walked and which way he walked to go to work. And I'm like, dang, like he finna come up here and knock on the door. Imagine I stayed on the second or third floor. So it was like two flights of steps to get up to my apartment at the time. So they gave us more than enough time when we seen him walking towards the building or whatever. So he ended up coming and eventually he ended up renting us our apartment. Like back then, renting center was a big thing where we had all I think it was like 3 bedrooms for a certain price or whatever. So he had hooked us up. We had went to renting center and got us our whole shebang and everything. He was paying the bill. He did a lot. He would give me money so we can go shopping before we go out to the club. Oh, by the way, everything that I'm using on my face, I'll have in a description bar. So eventually when he got tired of me blowing him off, he stopped paying the bill and was like, you know what, till you give me some butt, I ain't giving you nothing else. I'm like, okay. So I was telling Twan, I said, Dad, I gotta give in. I gotta give him some because, you know, that's our little extra coin. So she's like, all right, do what you gotta do, cuz. I'm like, all right. So I did what I had to do. And I was grossed out the whole time. I was so grossed out. And I'm like, damn, this is the only time I'm gonna do this. But I gotta make it count because I need about 6 more months worth of cash about him. So it was just gross. I can't even describe how gross it was for me being as young as I was during that time. Like, that wasn't what I was on. So we end up doing whatever. And me and Twana had this thing that we did all the time where if a dude was whack, whatever, we would give them thumbs down. If they was cool, give them thumbs up. Dudes never knew what it was about. So it was thumbs down, of course, because he grossed me up. So eventually, I think he got like the picture of me not feeling him like that. So I just stopped talking to him altogether. And I'm like, you know, I'm young. Like, I don't got time for this. I'm trying to do me and enjoy me. You know, you're an old dude. I just need you for what I need you for. So eventually, he went on his little way. I went on mine. Years go by. A couple of years go by, and I eventually see him again. But this time, I'm with my husband. And me and my husband was like really just dating at the time. So he was a marshal down at the courthouse downtown where I live at. And we had to go through the metal detectors and everything. It was like court day for traffic tickets and stuff like that. So I see him and I'm saying to myself, I hope he don't see me. Because Lord, I don't want to say nothing. I don't want to hurt his feelings. So eventually he sees me And my husband, which is my boyfriend at the time, he walks in front of me or whatever. So he's not knowing what's going on or whatever. So I'm like, dang, I had to see this dude again. I ain't seen this dude in a minute. I just fucking use the hell out of his ass. So he sees me. I'm ready to walk through the metal detectors. And he like, oh, so that's your man, huh? And I'm looking at him like, are you some kind of psychopath? Like, I ain't seen you in years. Was it that good? So, I was telling my husband, I'm like, oh my God. I used to talk to him back in the day or whatever, and he acting a little creepy. So my husband was like, well, you know, ignore him or whatever. So, I ended up ignoring him. And he came into the courtroom where we was and was like, you know, just started looking at me kind of. I'm like, man, go on about your business. You know, got time for all that. So then I didn't see him again until, it was still some years later when I seen him. I think I was pregnant or something. And he was at the hospital. And he looked all broken up. By this time, I know he had been about 50. So, and I think I was like in my late 20s or something like that. So, he just kept looking at me and kept finding a way to come. Like, he looking at me like, is that her? I'm not sure if that's her. I need to be 100% before I say something. Like, he kept giving me this vibe like I want to say something, but should I? Because I don't know if that's her. So, I'm feeling it, and I'm like, this... If he don't go about his business and go harass me at this point, I'm gonna got security on him. So he sat there and looked at me. And at the wait at the hospital, mind you, be like 2 and 3 hours before you get seen. So imagine somebody you really don't want to be bothered with sitting up there just staring at you, trying to figure out if you who he used to talk to or whatever. But he never said anything to me, thank God, because I really would have hated to hurt his feelings. And it just made me feel like I did my thing back then. If I, you know, I was pulling them old dudes, I was pulling them young dudes. I had some real young ones too that was a little younger than me. But it made me just be like, oh, okay, you must really get what it's like. But where he is, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen him in years. So that was my little story about Woody. There's a snake in my boot, guys. And I'm hoping that y'all enjoyed it because it was more to the story than that quick one, but the video can't be that long. And I just really didn't want to get all into 100% detail with dude, because he was doing a lot. He was doing the most to be as old as he was. And the stalking that he did was just, I couldn't take it. I didn't like it. It made me uncomfortable a lot of the times. I just didn't really understand what his obsession was with me. And I think that's really kind of what creeped me out with him, was that he was so persistent about me. And even when he would see, and I would tell him like, you know, you're not my dude. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't get that I didn't like him like that. He pretty much just felt like, you know what I'm saying, like, I'm giving you money and stuff, so you pretty much mine. And I wasn't giving that kind of vibe off. To me, I think he already knew, like, I'm pressing my luck with her because she's so young. But I really think he thought he had something that he can control, and he wasn't giving it. Because first of all, if anybody who know me know that I'm like strong-minded, it ain't giving none of that out. So he would dictate, like, watch my house and dictate who could and couldn't come to my house and be like, oh, I seen this other dude over there, this, that, and the third. And for me, I just didn't understand why you so concerned. You ain't my daddy. And he pretty much tried to play the part of and think because you giving me money, something you were choosing to do, that you had some kind of control over me. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to put a look under my eyes. But act like you had a little control over me where I had to do what you tell me to do and all of this and all of that. Which, again, you were so persistent with me. And that should have been the first red flag of me saying like, okay, I really didn't want to talk to him like that. He was already giving off this stalkerish vibe. But me being young and was in my little hustle mode, I'm like, well, you know what? I'm gonna see what he giving. And if he giving me what I need him to give, which he was, he cool. Yeah. I played the game how it was supposed to be played. And you can't get mad at me because I'm the winner at the end of it. I'm pretty sure I hurt his feelings a lot of times. But again, this was a man that was older than me. I was 21. And if you couldn't see the line that was drawn in the sand of, this all I want from you, this all you gonna get is my little conversation that I give you, and I'm not gonna give you like what you really looking for, then that's your fault. I mean, I don't know if I feel bad now that I'm older. To me, the story's still kind of like, but it was funny back then, and it's kind of funny now, considering, but I want somebody to do my child like that? No, but I pray to God that my child don't be 40 years old trying to talk to a 21-year-old and seeing that she don't really want much from him but a coin. So, and he didn't have a wife or nothing like that. The guy honestly was a bum. A bum with money. Like, I don't even know how that makes sense. He lived with his sister. He had a kid, I think. But, like, he didn't have nothing. Like he didn't have nothing to offer me. I mean, pretty much I had what he needed, which was a place to stay. So, but he knew he couldn't do that. So, I'm hoping y'all enjoy the story time with me about Woody. There's a snake in my boot. And hope y'all enjoy the little quick beat. Something small, you know. And again, all of the things that I used on my face will be in the description bar. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.